Hi, grade 5 students. In this video, I will be solving the first science exam review worksheet. So this will be the solution of the worksheet. For the final science exam, you'll have to review 2 worksheets, 1 and 2. And you will have to review all of these lessons. So you will see them on your worksheet in the first column of the table. If you want to review all the documents related to these lessons, you will have to check the Science Padlet or the school's app. Here are the weeks. In this week's we covered these lessons, and you can also check your book to review the lessons. Let me start with question number 1. So we're talking about food chains. Transform this short paragraph into a food chain. In a forest ecosystem, green plants. This is 1. Green plants are eaten by herbivorous animals such as rabbits. Wild cats are carnivorous animals that feed on rabbits. Lions hunt wild cats for food. In another way, we can say that green plants are eaten by rabbits. Rabbits are eaten by wildcats, and wildcats are eaten by lions. This is how we write a food chain. The arrow means is eaten by. So let me add this as a note. Okay. The arrow means is eaten by. So don't forget to put an arrow between each 2 organisms to show how energy travels in a food chain. Translate this food chain to a well-organized text. As we just said, the arrow means is eaten by. So we'll say the grass is eaten by the mouse. This is 1. We put a point. Then the mouse is eaten by the snake. Dot. The snake is eaten by the fox. This way we had a food chain, and now we translated the food chain into a text. Refer to the food web to answer the questions. So let's take a look right here. Food webs and food chains start always with a green plant, with a producer. The first food chain starts with green plants. Green plants are producers. The second food chain starts with grass. Grass are also green plants and they are producers. We have this food web. So look, this food web starts with producers. Grass, shrub, and trees are producers. We call them producers since they produce their own food. The first element in a food web or in a food chain is the producer. Then you will have the primary consumers, the consumers that feed on these producers. So look, the grass is eaten by the grasshopper and the rabbit. The shrub is eaten by the rabbit, the grasshopper, and the deer. Look at the arrows. Please follow the arrows each time you're reading a food web or a food chain. The tree is eaten by the squirrel. The shrub is also eaten by the squirrel. The tree is also eaten by the deer. So in this case, as you can see, there are 3 consumers that feed. There are 4 consumers that feed on plants: the squirrel, the rabbit, the grasshopper, and the deer. These are called primary consumers. Primary consumers are herbivorous animals. So here are the primary consumers. Consumers number 2. Consumers number 1. And in here you have the producers. On the top of a food chain, you will see the apex predators. Apex predators are organisms not eaten by any other organism. In here we have the hawk and we have the mountain lion as apex predators. Again, what do we mean by apex predators? Okay, apex predator. I will write an apex predator is not eaten by any other organism. It is found on the top of a food chain or of a food web. So what is one example of apex predators? You can choose one of these 2. I will write the hawk. Writing mountain lion is also correct. Give the names of 2 herbivores. Herbivorous animals are animals that feed on plants. We just highlighted them in green. The squirrel, the grasshopper, the rabbit, and the deer feed on the producers, which are the plants. So we have 4 herbivorous animals. I'll choose 2. Squirrel, okay, the squirrel, and the grasshopper. List 2 carnivorous consumers. The animals highlighted in green are herbivorous consumers, so we do not count them. Let's check the other animals. The shrew. What does the shrew feed on? Look at the arrows. The grasshopper is eaten by the shrew. This means that the shrew is a carnivore. It feeds on other animals like grasshoppers. Look at the snake. What do snakes feed on? The shrew is eaten by the snake. The rabbit is also eaten by the snake. This means that the snake is also a carnivorous animal. The hawk. The squirrel is eaten by the hawk. The shrew is eaten by the hawk. The snake is eaten by the hawk. This bird is eaten by the hawk. So the hawk is a carnivorous animal because it feeds on other animals. The insect-eating bird feeds on grasshoppers, so it is a carnivorous animal too. In this food web, we still have the mountain lion. Look at the mountain lion. The snake is eaten by the mountain lion. The deer is eaten by the mountain lion. The shrew is also eaten by the mountain lion. So animals that feed on other animals are called carnivorous animals. There are 5, look at them highlighted in red, 5 carnivorous animals. I'll choose 2. Insect-eating bird and snake. So these are 2 carnivorous animals. Determine if hawks are herbivores or carnivores. So pay attention. We have to determine, so we have to tell why. We just said that the squirrel is eaten by the hawk. The shrew is eaten by the hawk. The snake is eaten by the hawk. The bird is eaten by the hawk. So hawks feed on other animals such as shrews, snakes, and squirrels. So they are carnivorous animals. So you have to justify your answer, guys. You have to tell me why you said that an animal is a herbivore or a carnivore. The tree is a producer. What's a producer? A producer is an organism that produces its own food. So producers are green plants. We said before that producers must have chlorophyll to catch sunlight energy needed for the food making process, which is the photosynthesis. So producers are green plants that produce their own food by photosynthesis. It's enough to write producers produce their own food. For this reason, we call them producers. Indicate how many primary consumers is there in this food web. So the organisms highlighted in green are primary consumers. So a food web starts with a producer. The second element in a food web is called a primary consumer. In here we have the squirrel, the grasshopper, the rabbit, and the deer as primary consumers. So we have 4 primary consumers. Okay, I will add a note. Primary consumers feed on producers. They are the second element in a food web or a food chain. Pick out a food chain that contains 5 levels from this food web. Let's try to find one with 5 elements. I will take, for example, grass, rabbit, snake, and hawk. This food chain, the grass is eaten by the rabbit is eaten by the snake is eaten by the hawk is the apex predator. This is a food chain of 4 levels, so we cannot take it. The shrub is eaten by the rabbit is eaten by the mountain lion. This is a food chain of 3 levels, so we cannot choose it. The grass is eaten by the grasshopper. The grasshopper is eaten by the shrew. The shrew is eaten by the snake. The snake is eaten by the mountain lion. So this is a food chain of 5 levels. Yes, we can choose it. Grass. Okay, is eaten by the grasshopper. The grasshopper is eaten by the shrew. The shrew is eaten by the snake. The snake is eaten by the mountain lion. This is a food chain of 5 levels. Let's start talking about light. Light is a type of energy that is made of electromagnetic waves. Light travels in space in straight lines. When light passes through a translucent objects let some of the light pass through and not all of the light. So if you are looking through a translucent object, you'll see an unclear image of the object. White light is refracted. Refracted means that the light is passing from one medium to another medium, so it cannot be reflected. We will see all the different colors of the rainbow. Let's tell the colors of the rainbow in order. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. White light is the visible light. Okay, a red apple looks red because, no, the red apple isn't a source of light. It doesn't emit light. Red light is reflected. This is true. The color of an object is the color it reflects. So in here, the red apple reflects the red light. Erase this. We see objects because they reflect light to our eyes. I will add this information right here. We see objects because they reflect light to our eyes. And the color of an object depends on the color on the color of the light that is reflected. Muhammad shown through different liquid mixtures. Define a shadow. A shadow happens. Shadows happen when you have an opaque object blocking the light coming from a source light. So we will say shadows happen when an opaque object blocks the light from a light source. Indicate what Muhammad can conclude about mixtures X, Y, and Z. So look right here. There is no shadows formed on the paper. There is no shadows. This means that all of the light can pass through the cup and the mixture. The light is not blocked in here. The light is not blocked. And mixture X, let all of the light pass through. What does this mean? This means that mixture X is transparent. Transparent objects let all of the light pass through. What about mixture Z? As you can see, there is a dark shadow happening in here. This means that mixture Z blocked the light from passing through. Okay, so this medium blocked the light coming from the light source. What does this mean? This means that mixture Z is opaque. It's opaque in mixture Y. We have a light shadow. This means that some of the light, not all of the light, some of the light can pass through this mixture. So what do we call objects that let some of the light pass through? We call them translucent objects. So mixture Y is translucent. When light from an object is reflected by a mirror, it bounces off at the same angle. This is the rule of reflection. Label the diagram of reflection below. So easy. The light ray hitting the mirror is the incident ray. This is the incident ray. The one bouncing off is the reflected ray. We have, this is the mirror, and here is the perpendicular line on the mirror. This is called the normal. It's the normal, and it is perpendicular on the mirror. Right here, between the normal and the incident ray, there is an angle. This angle is called the angle of incidence. This is the angle of incidence. It's between the normal and the incident ray, while this is the angle of reflection between the normal and the reflected ray. These two angles, the angle of incidence and the angle of reflection, must be equal to each other. Okay, so we labeled the diagram of reflection on a flat mirror, but some mirrors aren't flat. Flat mirrors give an image of the same size of the object, while some other mirrors change the size of the object. Like in here, we have this mirror giving a wide image of the store, so the big objects look smaller now. Which kind of mirrors give this type of image? It's the convex mirrors. So this is a convex mirror because it gives a wide image of the store. It gives a smaller image of the objects. So this is a convex mirror. Okay, last question now. We said that we can see objects because they reflect light to our eyes. Black objects do not reflect light. They absorb all the colors of the rainbow, while white objects reflect all the colors of the rainbow. Green objects absorb all the colors except for the green light. They reflect green light to our eyes. Determine which bottle will show the highest temperature. I'll say the black bottle is the bottle with the highest temperature because it absorbs all the rainbow colors. Okay, so I'll say because black objects absorb all the rainbow's colors, so they are absorbing all of the light, and as we said, light is energy, so the black bottle will have the most energy, it will have the highest temperature. Here I'm saying indicate, so there is no need to tell why. This is not needed. It's enough to tell which bottle will show the lowest. It's for sure the white bottle will show the lowest temperature. And as a note right here, I'll say white objects reflect all the colors of the rainbow, all And that's it, we're done. So please guys, if you still have any questions about all of these lessons um, or anything, please let me know. Let me remind you that I'll be available each Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. on Zoom. So if you want to ask me anything, good luck in your exams.